Well, let's put this in here. Input and output. So, and I could have maybe put that at the top. What have I been putting at the top? X and Y. Any of these could go at the top. You know what we did before the first test? I did term number and term. So this whole course, this Math 2203, the topics are nice to kind of dive into them and think about them a little deeper. Mathematically, if I wrote a textbook like this, it probably would get a lot of negative comments. Because what I'm doing is I'm using words before I define them. And if you read in a math book, that's kind of a big no-no. You know, like we did term number and term. So we've done some work with functions already. Well, you could call the input set X and the output set Y. I used a word a few minutes ago. I don't know if you caught it, maybe 30 minutes ago. It starts with a D. Domain for the input. Range for the output. In algebra, when they start doing functions, and I'm thinking the regular algebra kids take in high school, X. I got Y, but what was something else? F of X. So I could refer to it that way. And actually, if you see F of X, that indicates it is a function. If I have something with X and Y, it might not be a function. Just because you have an equation. Look, earlier, I did this one. X equals Y squared. That is not a function. So I still wrote an equation, but it's not a function. If you see F of X, it is a function. And then in terms of sequences, I did N for term number. What was that closed form expression? A sub N would be the output, would be the term in sequences. You could also use N F of N. There's a slight difference between this and this if you want to distinguish them. All of these are ways to do input and output, but depending on the context of what you're doing, one of them might be picked over the other. For example, in this, in the upper level classes, if in a calculus book they're using N for the input, that probably means N would be things like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No fractions, no decimals, like we did with sequences. If they use X, then maybe X could be some 1/2, 2/3, 0.7, things like that. But you could also just say, oh, they're all the same. It depends on the context of what you're doing. Is there anything else we can add to that list? I'm going to put this, although it's a way to categorize them. Okay, I'm not going to write input, but anybody, I wrote the IN. Anybody have any clue? In the independent. I almost feel like that I was on what is that show with the letters? I don't remember it. I don't remember the name, but Vanna White's on it. Wheel of Fortune. I almost feel like I'm on Wheel of Fortune. INDE. Come on. All right. And then if I do independent, what's this guy? Dependent. Okay, independent, dependent. So when I gave that first little example and I said I picked the numbers, I can pick whatever I want. It's independent of anything. When you had to add 5 to it, was your answer independent? It depended on what I picked. So it was a dependent answer.